everybody. Welcome always, once again, to our weekly SonRise Project call, where we always have a safe space filled with love and compassion and our desire to heal ourselves and our children with love and with building relationships over being right. I just had a conversation about that yesterday, which was so deep, and we'll talk about that today, I'm sure, as well. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. I am deeply honored again to have our wonderful, wonderful, wonderful Coach Bev Kearney back with us today. She was here just about a month ago and has agreed to be one of our regular guests because she is filled with such wisdom and such knowledge and such joy. Despite whatever she's going through, she always has a smile on her face. And so I am delighted to have Coach Bev back with us this morning. And today, she said, keep my bio short, Kelly, because she's always telling me what to do. And I listen, I do listen. And so I'm going to jump to what our conversation is about. Most of you have been here with us and know that Coach Bev is one of the most incredible legacy track and field coaches of all time and is in all kinds of halls of fame and national records and a zillion Olympians and Paralympians and more. And we were talking this week about how we often wear a mask and how we put this mask on, particularly as women, how we put the smile on our face. We might have gone through something horrific the night before or that morning or in that moment, but yet we all do it. We wear this mask and we smile and people say, how are you doing? We say, fine, we're good, I'm good. But we're really not good, many times. And yet we carry this weight, we carry the weight inside and we don't let it ourselves frequently. We don't let ourselves open up, especially as parents. And wearing that mask becomes second nature. And as we all know on this phone call, we're holding ourselves together, we're holding our families together, we might have a relationship we're trying to hold together. And at the end of the day, we really need to learn how to release that mask and not try to push through the pain, in silence. And so that is the topic for this morning. It's about removing the mask, thinking about how to do that because we put on the mask often to mask our pain. And so that is our topic for our conversation this morning and really understanding how this happens, why it happens, and most importantly, Coach Bev is going to help us discover ways to take the mask off and to be honest with ourselves and with others. So, welcome, Coach Bev. Thank you for being here
Thank
early
you guys for having
again.
me back.
We
Except
want you back all the
it's
time.
6 o'clock in the morning now. I loved it when we were only 2 hours different.
And no, I'm sorry.
I don't know what's wrong with Arizona. We don't switch, we don't do nothing. So I don't never know what time it is.
And it feels differently. I've been up, you normally wake up at a certain time. This week it's been a full hour later. And I'm looking up like, oh God, I got a meeting in 20 minutes. So thank you for being here. I know you're probably tired, but always with a smile. Good morning.
One of the things Kelly and I spoke earlier, and I asked a question. I said, are you carrying guilt?
Mm-hmm.
And immediately she started talking. I said, no, are you carrying guilt? And then she began to name it.
Mm-hmm.
And the question is, are you carrying guilt? The question is yes or no.
Mm-hmm.
And the answer is 90%, 99% for all of us. I want to give grace and say somebody may not have it out in this world who is of
Mm-hmm.
age, but we all carry it.
That's right.
It's how we carry it.
That's right.
And we carry it because we have to be in spaces where those emotions don't count because
Mm-hmm.
people don't care.
That's right.
And So me and my daughter finally had to get to a point of saying either I'm having a bad day or asking, are you having not a good day? And the answer is yes, no, I'm not having a good day. And then my
Mm-hmm.
second question is to give the option of, would you like to speak about it?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And sometimes for me it's no, sometimes it's for her it's no. I said, well,
Mm-hmm.
if you can't figure it out, I'll be here. Or I'll say, if I need you, I'll call you.
Yeah.
But to catalog those, and the reason I stopped Kelly is because we went to catalog it. I feel like I did this wrong, I did that wrong, I did this wrong, I did that wrong,
Mm-hmm.
and it reinforces it.
Mm-hmm.
I want to acknowledge, I think um, it was Nikki who came on last time and said, we deal with all of these illnesses. And I did a
Mm-hmm.
correction and I said damage. Because when we say illness, people think light, like
Mm-hmm.
it's a very light problem.
Mm-hmm.
Take something for an illness and get over it.
Right.
But, I, when I was in the car accident, I had extreme body injuries, extreme. And and I once asked, why does everybody talk in the hallway and when they turn to my room, they whisper? And and my sister said it because it looks like you're gonna die.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so they shifted their energy coming into room in honor of my death. There's an assumption that came in with that.
Yes.
And I try not to, but the person that drove the car, whose two people died in it, they had very extreme internal damage
Mm.
in the heart and the mind. And very few people even acknowledged it because they couldn't see it.
Yeah.
If I can't see the depth of what your pain is, I'm just going to assume it goes away. And then
Mm-hmm.
when I assume it goes away, my assumption is you okay. So I'm going to treat you okay. And because my pain may not be safe with you, I'm going to pretend like I'm okay.
Right.
And it builds up because when we carry
Mm.
this, we're dealing with the society. And I hope I'm explaining this right because this was very important to me. Your kids may not have it, or they may have it, but
Mm-hmm.
you can now see the school environments that they were raised in the school systems with the level of hate that we see. Some kids were best friends young, and as they got older, because they're different or because they're uh, black or whatever, they're too smart, they began to be treated within this system of younger people who really are just not high achievers right now. And then you're sending your kids in with the ideology they can be anything.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a generation that doesn't take responsibility. So they're telling your kids, right, it's not your fault.
Mm.
So the one thing that I did realize is that the person that usually gets the blame is subconsciously the one that they know won't leave, and that it's easier to hurt, which is the mothers.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So not only are you carrying guilt, but some way and somehow you're being made to feel the bad guy. You're made to feel like it's my fault. And
Mm-hmm.
then you have to deal with the turmoil that they turn away from you, but they come back to you.
Mm-hmm. We hope. We hope.
But they do. They'll come and they'll talk to you in spurts, and you feel like, okay, we got this. And then you'll turn around and get hurt again. And the
Mm-hmm.
reason I say damage is because of the damage that carrying all of this negativity. being able to walk out in a society where we have to smile through the pain. Now, topple that with 80% of Black women are the primary or major earner. We also are the major caretakers.
Mm-hmm.
So we're the police to a certain degree and we're facing up against a society that is not backing us up. So how do
Right.
we deal with this? It's to recognize my pain. It's to not lessen how I feel in this moment
Mm-hmm.
to make everybody else feel okay around me. Because sometimes
Yeah,
I'm not okay. Sometimes you're not okay.
that's
But that
right.
doesn't mean we're not still great. It just means that we're human. And I say this because Black women are not allowed to be human in
Mm,
terms of we're tired. We have to be, we have this feeling that, and there's not only our feeling of it, but there's a societal feeling that says you're strong enough, which is why
mhm.
I veered away from that wrong, because it gives them permission to put an overload on you. It gives them permission not to see your pain.
Right, right.
So I call it pain. I call it damage because I want you to know this ain't something I can get over in a minute.
Mhm.
When people think of illness, they think of sick, take something and you'll be fine because I don't want to be bothered with it. But that's not what the type of sicknesses with some of our kids we're dealing with. They have
Yeah.
very strong emotional issues. And the studies show that this is your kids may be smart. And when they say this, the way I take it is that they say this generation is less intelligent than the last generation.
Mhm.
But that's on paper.
Right,
I would say it's by effort. This generation is showing less drive overall than other generations. And that's who our kids are talking to. That's the environments they're going into. So, how do we counter this?
mhm.
We got to know when to put on the mask and when to take it off.
Right,
We have to be, I don't care if anybody listens to me, I'm going to tell you I'm not having a good day in my house.
right.
And when they come to you, I need a moment because the last place we should have to wear a mask is in our homes. If we have to wear a mask outside the home and we have to wear it inside because we're trying to be strong for everybody, we're trying to take care of everything, where do we find peace? I'm grateful for
Right.
this moment because we're in a Sunday circle
Mhm.
of authenticity and
Right,
truth. And what do they say? Listen, but don't judge.
right.
And unfortunately, that's become a cliche because most times people are doing one of two things. If you really want to
Mhm.
help each other, listen authentically.
That's
Listen
right.
without coming up with an answer. Listen without the need to tell your story. If it is not in any way without having acknowledged their journey and saying, I went through something similar. Let's talk about it.
Mhm. Mhm. That's so interesting. It's the listening without judgment. It's interesting that you're saying that because what resonated with me for a hot second, well, everything resonated with me. But this time last week, we were speaking with a young lady named Lexi Hopkins Cunningham, who specializes in suicide. That's her field of study. A young lady who we grew up to, like I watched her grow up. I know her mom very well, and she talked a lot about radical acceptance without judgment and without trying to fix anyone, which, especially with children, is hard. You know, it's hard for a lot of us to stay in that place of quiet or just listening, like you said, without judgment. That's hard. That radical acceptance is challenging and it's a daily practice. I think.
And sometimes we have this feeling of obligation that we have to be there on that spot, on that moment, on that call. And in that
Mm-hmm.
moment, we're not in a good energy space.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes we need to say, let me get myself centered so that I can listen better
Mm-hmm.
because we're
Mm-hmm.
pushing ourselves through it. And I want to make this very clear. The more you carry, the stronger the mask, it sends your nervous system into a flight or fight
Mm-hmm. Or
throughout your body
freeze.
cells.
Mm-hmm.
Fight or flight. So you're just
Mm-hmm.
always on edge. So your body now, physically, within your cellular level, is picking all of this up. You
Mm-hmm.
don't feel good. Sometimes you don't have the energy. Sometimes, God forbid, please have your spot where sometimes you just need to cry.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like cry.
Mm-hmm.
Because through the clarity of crying, what people don't realize with crying, it stops your thought processes. It gives you a moment to recontrol because you're releasing something.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So when I'm releasing, I don't want to inhale it back in by saying, they don't love me. Nobody understands. No. When I'm crying, when I get in a point where I'm gonna cry, I'm either gonna call someone in to help me, even if it's just to hold me. I've called my daughter in. I said, don't say nothing. I just need you to hold me.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes I just need to cry and say, I'm not all right now.
Mm-hmm.
If you can begin to tell yourself when you feel it coming on, I'm not all right now.
Mm-hmm.
But we feel like we don't ever get the freedom to be in that space
Right.
because we're being in, everybody has an expectation of us in every space. Now, the greatest thing about this is, and it happened to me as a coach where they puff you up and put you on this pedestal. You're in front of all of these audiences that you don't know how God has blessed you to get there, or you're doing these phenomenal things because what people don't realize, Black women are one of the groups that they push back against the most.
Mm-hmm.
They fear us. They fear our intelligence, our beauty, our wisdom, because they don't go through the experiences that we go through. And you can't get through what we go through without gaining wisdom. What I'm
Mm-hmm.
asking you to do is, if as you're on this wisdom journey, begin to find the wise ways to heal you, not just
Mm-hmm.
everybody else.
Yes.
I try not to, as God is my witness, I don't have it down 100%. And anybody that tells you they never do this, they're telling you an untruth, which is,
Right.
I have a pity party. It just don't seem fair.
Right.
And I always end with, God, universe, I know you got me. I know you got me through this. I don't know how, I don't know when, I don't know where, I don't know how it's going to get done. I don't have anything. I trust you. And sometimes when someone hurts your feelings, especially your kids, you need to recognize the hurt in the moment. Don't
Mm-hmm.
work through it by talking it through. Acknowledge it, say, whoa. Because if I am hurt, I'm going to eventually speak out of that hurt.
Right.
But I also don't want to carry it.
Mm-hmm.
And somehow within our communities, we're just coming to the edge of it. And if there is a doctor of psychology on here, I'd like to get their opinion on it. But it used to be weak to go get help.
Right.
And
I think.
sometimes we didn't even know what we needed help for.
Mm-hmm.
We just needed relief.
Right. I want to ask a question about the guilt because, I've known you for, I don't know, 25, 30 years or whatever it's been. And I've always experienced you, even when you broke your leg recently twice and had crazy pain and you've had a bunch of health issues over the years, you always have a smile on your face. And so my question is one, you know, is that a mask or is it really what you said, a release where you just said, I'm going to let go and let God? So there is no mask. Is there a mask or not? And then two, do you have any guilt around your children? Because I think so many people on this call, including me, you know, and I've worked really hard to forgive myself for a lot of the things I did that my mom always says, can't get the time back. Boy, I sure wish I could. I really, really wish I could. I would do things completely differently when my children were growing up, but can't get that back. So I'm asking, do you ever have a mask or have you ever had a mask? Number one. And do you have any guilt anywhere with as it relates to your kids?
Do I wear the mask? I wore the mask hard last night because I had to go to an event I absolutely did not want to go with. And I said, I gotta go. I gotta go support. I've given my word, and they're actually looking forward to me. And I was actually part of the documentary. They said, you're a critical part because you always say good stuff. And so I went, I did good. I did have the mask, but I tried to sit away from everybody because I knew I didn't want to be there. It was more of
Mm,
an obligation than a desire to be in that seat.
yes.
And usually when I get to that point, I stay home. I
Mm-hmm.
step back when I can. And even if you're still in a crowd, you can step back.
Mm-hmm.
How we show up. But for me, it's even harder because I do have that upbeat and it's so drastic for people to see me without it. So in that case, I wear the professional mask, but I've stopped wearing it at home.
Mm-hmm. That's good.
That's what I say. And do I have guilt? I apologized.
Yeah.
And once I apologize, every now and then I'll think about it with my daughter, but we've discussed it and we
Mm-hmm.
have two different perceptions of it.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes her perceptions of what things that have happened are not accurate in terms of
Mm-hmm.
what actually happened, but how it made her feel is accurate because that's how she feels. And so I
Right.
have to, sometimes there's the guilt that they felt a certain way in a certain situation or that they remembered in a certain way. I learned at some point to try to address those so that they
Yes.
don't keep compounding and create the anger in them where they're attacking me. And then eventually I'm gonna break,
Mm-hmm.
not to attack back, but I'm gonna get pissed off. And once I get pissed off,
Yes.
you say, do, and feel things that are not beneficial for either.
That's
And
right.
the easiest place to take the mask off is at home.
Mm-hmm.
So I tried not to be in friendships
Yes.
that I have to wear a mask. That's a waste of my
Yes.
time. If I can't trust you, you're not in my circle at all. And there are layers of the circle, but it's still
Mm-hmm.
your circle, it's still your village. And
Yes.
I don't do woe is me circles. I want to figure out when I call you and to tell you how programmed we are. I hope I'm not jumping around because I really want to get this part in. When I called you, Kelly, and I had a different sound in my voice, and the
Yes.
first thing you said is, "Oh my God, what's wrong?"
Mm-hmm. Well, that's a
That's how
tendency of all
programmed.
people to assume
That
something's wrong. Mm-hmm.
that's how it's been
Yes.
because we have generations of trauma. We're dealing with our own kids, let alone our own families and what went on there.
That's right. That's
So I
right.
have to start releasing and relieving. Part of how I do it is I began to look at, I never thought I'd get through that, but here I am. And
Hmm.
then that starts my nightly gratitude.
We talked a lot about gratitude last time, like being grateful.
Yeah, you just
So many
at
things to be
night.
grateful for. Hmm.
Yes. And the thing is, Black women are losing the highest amount of jobs. Why? Because we're powerful, because we're intelligent, because we start the most businesses.
That's right.
But do we have the most support?
Hmm.
That's my question. If we don't become a support base for each other, where do we go?
Yeah.
And so my goal when I became stepped into this space is to
Mm.
be a safe space. Now, I'm still working on this listening thing because unfortunately being wise means you know where it's going. And I
Before the
have,
person even gets there.
oh God,
Hmm.
that's I'm very intuitive.
Yes, you are.
And so I have to stop myself to listen. The only thing I won't let you do is drive off the cliff with negativity.
Hmm.
Because I don't know if you guys realize it, but when you start talking about what happened, you it starts to elevate
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
you're vibrating in a negative direction that's going to pull even more on because you
Right.
have good hearts. And if you focus that goodness in your heart on a particular goal, it's going to
Hmm.
happen. Let's focus on the goal.
Yes.
One one of my athletes, I hope it's okay to veer off into sports, hates me to this day.
Mm.
Hates me. And the reason she hated me is because we went to the Olympic trials. She had the top time and she choked in the final to make the team. Now she's throwing stuff mad and she looks at me. I said, "Hey, I'm going to give you 1 day to get through these emotions and we got to go back to work." And she said, I was being insensitive. I said, "No, you're broke. If we can turn around before these Olympians hit the track and get you back on the track and get you some money, get you ranked in the top 10, you're going to get a contract."
Hmm.
So we don't have time. I knew she was going to hate me,
Mm.
but my desire for her to be financially okay and not living on the street again, because she was in her car at one point and comes from a poor family, she made the top 10 and got the money and left
Mm.
because they're
Wow.
going to go and find someone who isn't going to make them go through the hard things. Same thing with our kids. Until we get an understanding with them where our pull and our consistency is greater than what they're listening to out there, or even in the house, they're going to go to the parent that's going to give them the least amount of pushback. And sometimes
Hmm.
that makes us feel left out when we're doing the most.
Hmm. Yep.
We're showing up.
Right.
And sometimes we're showing up on our own.
Right. And that's for many people. And I think I just want to acknowledge, like, I think your story about the athlete's really interesting because, you know, often us as parents tend to enable behavior that is not helpful. You know what I'm saying? It's like, it's not helpful to get the phone call every other, week or so. I need money for this, I need money for that. When it's a grown up that, really a grown child that is needs to launch, that needs to, hustle, get a few jobs, do what we all did so that you don't have to call your parents. But that's I think our generation of we would get a job, two, three, or whatever job, so that we wouldn't have to add that burden to our parent.
And
It's a
they don't
different
have that
thing. They don't have
capability
that
or
hustle
but
mentality.
you got to understand the people around them are not encouraging it. This generation, I think what they said was, somebody can correct me if I'm wrong, 7 to 8 out of new Gen Z hirees in management don't make it.
Hmm. Well, they have a different perception of what joy in life looks like. It's not getting
Well,
a job and staying in a job forever, like we did, or
well,
like our parents did.
I will give you my bottom line. Because if you don't go in with a bottom line, the borders will be pushed until you no longer exist within you.
Mm-hmm.
My border is I would rather them be mad at me and have a chance at greatness than I appease them for comfort in the moment.
That's right.
And the reason I say that is because they will get mad.
Right. And it's hard to
But
do as a mom. It's hard
okay,
to do.
but I'm going to tell you why it's hard. And please don't take this. I talk pretty much straightforward.
Yes, you do. You told me to shut up last time. No, I'm kidding. But you did.
I did, because you were getting ready to list all the things, and I was like,
I'm a list and charts and graphs person. Yes, I am. But
and
go
once we
ahead.
start listening, we ground them even deeper in ourselves,
Hmm.
and they do more harm.
Yeah.
So, so, so here is what I have to say. I had to realize that did I want them to like me or respect me? Because if I cave in and I know it's not in their best interest, it's for my comfort.
Yes.
I may say it's because I want to avoid it, but it still is. I want to avoid this conflict. So just let me know. As and that taught me as a coach. Now I have different pressure than you guys have different pressure because you've given birth. I have pressure because I gave a promise to someone and it feels like I have less room to mess up because it's not my
Hmm.
creation. So we
Hmm.
all have a different level of pressure.
Hmm.
So I had to put the pressure on myself just, and I'm dealing with so many kids
Hmm.
throughout my career that sometimes how they were raised at home isn't going to match what they face in society. I also had to tell kids in college the comfort you have in college with these students is not going to be the same when you get out of college.
Hmm.
And they're not ready for rejection. They can't
Right.
handle the rejection because just like we wear a mask, the people they're dealing with, the students, especially when now that you can see some racial divides, they're wearing masks.
Yes.
They're friends with your kids until they get a certain age, and then it separates.
Yeah.
And our kids don't know how to handle the rejection because there's trauma in the rejection.
Right.
So they take it out on you because they know you won't reject them.
That's right.
They don't know what to do with it. They're not equipped.
Right. Right. So
But
I
that's
want
the
to,
hard choice
mhm.
I have to make.
We
That's the
have to make
hardest
hard
choice.
choices. And I want to open it up for questions in a hot second. I just want to touch base on the importance of something you and I talked about privately one day, just about
Hmm.
the power of forgiveness. And you mentioned it earlier where you ask for forgiveness from your children for, some of the things you viewed or deemed as mistakes. The power of that is really real. I did that recently with both of my sons. I did it publicly with Kyle here a month or so ago, where he was like, "No, you did." He was very gracious when he said, "You don't need to forget. You good. You did what you thought you needed to do," and I was out of control at some point. However, it's also important for us to forgive ourselves.
That was
And
my next point. And
yes,
and sometimes
hmm,
you do that through tears, but you're doing the best you can with what you got. And
hmm,
what you got is not materially, it's what you got left in your heart.
that's right,
And sometimes as we go through things, we learn things. But
right,
everything that we learn is not for us alone. It is so that we can help the next person through that
yes.
muggy water. So we've got to be more present for each other in spaces.
Yeah.
I know who, you should have friends that you don't call a friend out of place.
Hmm.
If you know your friend don't have uh-uh. Don't call me and tell me the graphics of the injury you just sustained. I
Hmm.
can't handle it.
Hmm.
You can call me about any internal pain, and I can do this
Yeah.
because I've learned to step outside myself and place myself in an empathetic position where I can feel what you're going through.
Yes. You are an empath. It's very true.
And
I,
sometimes I
hmm
have to get people past the pain because they're not ready for the message.
right. And that's true. I'm not going to go back, but 10 years ago, you foreshadowed so many things, and it all came to life in a different way, not specifically, but what was happening in the household and all of
Hmm.
those things. I'm still working on forgiveness. I say it out loud. Someone told me, I think it was Lisa Nichols, the importance of looking in the mirror and saying, three things. I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you, Kelly, for blank, for what, and it could be something small or something large, but then I forgive you for, I forgive you for, and doing it 7 times every day
Hmm.
really is powerful. It's powerful to actually say it out loud and
But
still
then you got to
work.
release it and say,
Mm-hmm.
and I release this in love and light. And every now and then it'll come up and you'll have to go, dang. That's where
Yeah.
I'll start laughing. Like, dang, that was stupid.
Yeah. Well,
As
here we
opposed to
are.
beating
Mm-hmm.
myself up over it again.
That's
Once
right.
I've acknowledged, and I will do that. But it's,
Yes.
please, when you're in those spaces, kind of catalog in your head, if you can't have, if it goes more than 20 hours, I'm asking you to have someone in your Rolodex you can call.
Mm-hmm. Right. And I think, yes, absolutely. You know who those people are. We all know who those people are. I want to
But
make sure I
make sure
open up
you're
the floor.
calling them in the lane they can help
Exactly. The right
and
people.
not
We know what that
commiserate.
means. Exactly. I want to make sure we open up the call because we can talk all day long here. But if anybody has something you want to share or a question, if you're on your phone, you can hit *6, or you can come off a mute, or you can put a note in the chat if that feels more comfortable to you. Someone said that's the very street I'm on with my 33-year-old son. And that was a little bit ago. So it's probably around trying to have boundaries and have conversations. I imagine that's where we were in the conversation about 10 minutes ago. But if you want to share or ask Coach Bev a question, she has been coaching me since we met in Austin, Texas in 2007. I don't know how long, for a long time. And just a wise, wise, beautiful soul. Someone says, how do you maintain your boundaries? Saying no, that step, without compromising the relationship. That's a great question. How do you
Find
say no? Hmm hmm
whatever they're asking, evaluate why the no, and then see where they are and see if they're ready to even hear the no. If it's not, I need to go now. Say, give me a moment.
hmm
Because the last thing you want there is to have their expectations meet your truth.
hmm
And then
That's right.
sometimes, if you can balance those out, it'll balance out the times where you just have to say no.
Right. Well, it's interesting the why behind the no. This happened to me yesterday. My little one, 20-year-old, wanted to get his braids back. And the braids, not just braids, but braids, down in front of his face, like, Juice World, rest in peace. And so, and half blonde, half brown, what have you. And so I just said, I really would prefer if you would wait until you get back from your spring break trip. But the why behind it was fear, racial profiling while he's on an international trip, fear of him being at his big swim banquet when they're going to acknowledge him for some stuff, and he's the only Black kid on the team with these braids in front of his face. All of those things was about. But I came to the reality of it's your hair, it's your decision, and yet I don't want to pay for it. And so, but at the time, I was like, you know what? Hopefully, he'll see that it's not. it would be better to have his little blonde, platinum blonde little afro on his time. And he sent a
No, but
picture. Oh, go
you know
ahead.
why
Go
he
ahead.
can't see it? It's because that's his cover.
Oh, and
He's not
literally,
comfortable in the
literally.
world. And
Mhm. And he didn't make his
he's
NCAA cut that he
hiding.
thought.
He's
Yes.
hiding from the very thing that you're fearful of. He's hiding from.
Yeah.
But you're at a different place than he is.
Hmm. And I
And
can
maybe
see
he
all
has
the
to go there.
challenges. That's right. That's what Deb said
Maybe he has to
yesterday.
go over there and somebody gonna tell him, boy, your hair look crazy. And guess what he'll do? Mom, I need to get my hair fixed back. If that
Hmm.
happens. If not, everything you feared they may not even care.
That's right. And it may be fine. But it's
But
me,
the reason I
my
asked the why, if the
the
why is
why.
coming from your fears, now there's a difference in if a person is asking to drive a car and you know they don't have the capabilities, not because of what they do, but because of the other traffic. They can manage themselves, but they can't handle the confusion when something happens like this. That's
Right.
dangerous. That's a safety issue.
Exactly. Exactly. That's a
That's a
great
hard no.
answer.
You got to figure
Hmm.
out where your hard no's are and then where you're flexible. Because once you went into yours, that's a personal no.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, that's helpful. Very helpful. Thank you. It's about safety and it's about, but also at the end of the day, we want to create a space where there's a relationship where we can rebuild our relationship with our kids, even if they are grown, or like the lady, one of the women said, 33 years old, how do we rebuild that, relationship over time
You
as
don't
possible?
rebuild, you build. Take
Mm-hmm.
the re out because you're building from a different place in time. Neither of you are the same. Build
Yeah,
from the moment, build in the moment. Don't build for the moment in the future. Build, enjoy in the moment now because every little chip you make, let it be in the moment and enjoy it.
I love that.
And enjoy the extra time that they laughed with you or said something stupid or did something stupid
Mm-hmm. Try to
because
enjoy
it
it.
balances because we're always, well, they did it that time, they're probably going to act an ass in a little bit.
Yes,
We're always waiting. And to be honest, as black women, we're always waiting in society too, in
that's
relationships.
right. That's
And at
right.
some point, we got to get out of the fight or flight and just be. Be comfortable in
That's right.
you and start to surround yourself, your inner circles, and people you're comfortable with so that you can start to feel what it feels like not to wear the mask.
That's right. It's nice not to wear the mask. It
We
really
don't know
is.
when we are anymore
That's right.
because we've got to be honest with ourselves. I just don't feel good today. I done been through enough today.
Hmm.
And I'll be the first to answer your calls,
Hmm.
no
Hmm.
matter what time. I will, because I don't ever want someone to wake up in the middle of the night and not have someone to call.
Hmm.
Have you ever done that where you really wanted to talk to somebody and just didn't know what direction to go? And
Hmm.
that in itself becomes heavy.
Yeah. Yes. Phaedra says yes. I don't know if you want to, Phaedra, you mentioned earlier about your 33-year-old son. We have a minute or so left. Um, Before we wrap up, do you want to share any more? Because you said yes. I think, and I just want to say this is a safe space. It happens to be at 9 a.m. Sunday mornings, Eastern time, or 6 a.m. for Coach Bev and others who call in from the West Coast. But if you want to share, I see you came off of mute, so feel free. Go ahead and good morning.
Yeah, good morning. Sorry, this is a an emotional one for
It's
me.
okay. We cry a lot here, and it's okay.
I just have one son, my 33-year-old, and uh, he has a lot of emotional issues. I do believe that he has ADHD. He's gone untreated, He has severe issues with executive function, and what that's translated to as a 33-year-old is he's not making wise decisions for his life. Um,
Yeah.
he constantly calls asking for rent money. He's he I had to put him out of my house last year because he came home was doing cocaine. So I had to put him out. He found a place to live. This place only charges $500. He's rooming with other people his age, and he just can't keep a job long enough to pay rent. So my guilt is I can't have him come back home. So when he calls and asking for rent money, you know, he's immune to my fussing, but I give it to him, either myself or my mother. Well, now it's a year, and I'm to the point um, I just can't continue to give him money for such and such. And I'm always telling him, you need to get a job. And when you get a job, you need to keep a job. But he has issues with keeping a job and now maintaining peace in the home. He wound up getting a girl pregnant. This would be his second child. One of the roommates in that house. And I didn't know about it until 2 weeks after the baby was born. So we're, still working through that. It's just a lot, and I'm sorry to just put all this out there, but I'm just been going through a lot of guilt, what to do. Um, I mean, he's 33. When will this end? But it's been going on since his early 20s when he was in and out of jail for stupid stuff. Taking video games, taking, you know, t- stupid stuff, nothing big. So, so yeah, I don't really have a circle. Um,
And that's why this is built up so deep. So
yeah,
it's deeply embedded because you're having to think of it over and over and over
over and
and
over.
over and over and over. And you have nowhere to release because as you begin to talk about it, you can begin to see some angles clearly. And I hear you, and I more than hear you. Oh my God, took everything I had not to cry with you. And I wish
Mhm.
I could just hold you because that's really what you need right now, to
Yeah,
just be
Mhm.
held and rocked for a minute and say it's all right.
Mhm.
Because at some point, I would suggest you go to a counselor because you're going to have to deal with it. Because at some point, you're going to have to help him grow up. You've got to get him into a 411, not a 911. And and I know from what I'm feeling from you, you don't know where bottom is. And that
yeah.
scares
That's
you.
right.
I thought jail was bottom. I thought spending a year in jail was bottom, and it just, I mean, so he's not, stealing or anything, but the problem is he does not see the importance of standing on
Drugs
his,
and out on the street
yeah,
as a
yeah,
possibility. What is your greatest fear that he will end up at?
committing suicide. He talks a lot about not wanting to be here.
Mhm.
I would suggest this, and it's the hardest thing I promise you I had to do because my daughter was very suicidal and I was overly drained. And I've had college kids who were that way, to a point where I would have one kid follow the other kid to make sure they're okay. And then I had to get to the point where I said, okay, I'm gonna help them live. If they and in the back of your mind, I had to come to some type of resolution that if if they do not, I don't want them to go because they don't have love and support. But if they do decide to go, there's nothing I can do but have given my very best. My suggestion is to focus on how to get them to live, and you're going to need to go to get a counselor to help you with that because you can't
Mhm.
carry this much longer. If he's
Mhm.
33, this could go on till he's 55. My brother did that to my grandmother. My grandmother sold all her land, kept giving him money, kept giving him money. He was out in the street. We stopped counting. I still got people coming up to me saying, "You my aunt, but you my age." So He has a lot of kids, and no matter how much we all gave, it never changed what he did. You got to
Mm-hmm.
teach him how to work and become self sufficient because the burden is not on him, it's on you. He's stressing less, you stress more, and you're
Mm-hmm.
aging up,
Mm-hmm.
and that stress doesn't carry the same way. So, first of all, um, I'll offer if you need me, you call. But the first thing I would suggest you do is to get a counselor, a very good counselor. Even if I tell
Mm-hmm.
people, go to two or three, find the one that's in harmony with the direction you want to go,
Mm-hmm.
not
And I,
somebody that knows the book.
Mm.
mm-hmm.
Thank you for that. Thank you.
And I'm
And the,
going to send
mm-hmm.
Kelly some
Mm-hmm.
tapping exercises to release the negativity and to bring in, you'll do it in the morning and the night. So I need to find the exact video of the tapping. And it is to tap into the cellular and start to release some of the things that you guys are going through. The other thing I would
And
suggest is
mm-hmm.
Reiki. Find a good person that does that.
We have a great person I can share with you who does Reiki, and she actually lives out in Arizona as well. And she's been on a few times. I wanted to also just add to 988 used to be purely a suicide helpline, but it also provides support for people who are in your exact same situation. They have trained people, trained specialists in every state. 988, you can text, you can call, and they will direct you to somebody you can talk with. And just for Phaedra, I shared Coach Bev's cell number. I hope that's okay, Coach Bev, but since you
Hmm.
offered, so it's in the chat. And that's Bev's cell. She does answer day, night, all the time. And it's been a wonderful spirit and coach for me for a very long time around my children. And the last thing I just would add is Alan, I think it's Al Anon. There's also other programs that help people dealing. And there's something my mom taught me, which is it's not my fault, it's not my fix, and it's not my fight. And the person has to do it on their own as
And
much as we
and
want to
you're
help
being
them.
held hostage. I
Yeah.
Mhm.
finally told my daughter I will not be held. I do not want to be held hostage anymore, worrying about whether you will decide to live or die.
Right?
That's two of us dying at the same time if I've got to carry that burden. And nine times out of 10, they're going to keep going and your body's going to shut down.
Yeah.
Don't carry that burden of
It's
life
hard
and
though.
death.
It's
You've
hard as a
given,
mom.
it is the easiest thing to say and the hardest thing to do, which is why I said
It
get
is.
help with it. I'm built a little different because
Mm-hmm.
I see it so often.
Mm-hmm.
And I see the parents' pain. And I've even told them, I said, that's a hard burden to bear. I've told kids that towards their parents. Um, and for some reason, I'm blessed enough to be direct without being harmful.
Thank you for that. Thank you for allowing me the time to share. I really appreciate it.
No, thank you for opening up and sharing your pain because that's what it is. That's the damage that's being done. So I want you all to
Mm-hmm.
understand that that's where we have to be because we're carrying generational trauma and expectations.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
we're trying to figure out how much of it to pass on, how much of that responsibility, how much of that burden are our children carrying. And we're finding out they saying we don't want none,
Hmm.
but it's
Yeah.
unavoidable.
And it's generational because we've all been taught to carry that mask and put on a happy face. So I really want to say, really also appreciate your vulnerability. That's what this is for. It's a
Yeah.
shame
Your
free,
authenticity.
safe space to come because every single person on this call is dealing with something, something. And that's why we're here. That's why Coach Bev comes. She's agreed to be a regular. Thank goodness for her. So she'll be here every month or every other month. We're working through that right now. But I appreciate you sharing. And you have to really feel it and
Absolutely.
then reveal it to heal. We
I
always talk
felt
about that.
you
Hmm.
before I could even, I felt you before I could
Hmm.
hear you. I felt you.
Yes. So reach out to Coach Bev and 988. And thank you for being here. And thank you, everybody, for being here this
And
morning.
please be careful who you hug. I'm going to give you a tip. All energy and good energy. I
Mm,
do this a lot when I meet people, and I hug people when I feel the need to hug people.
Hmm.
And here's a tip for you. Whenever you can get in that place of love and you're finding that window to pour into your child, anchor it.
mm,
You anchor it by putting your hand anywhere on them as you speak your words to let them feel they'll feel the depth of the word and it'll anchor it. It may not get action, but you'll begin
Hmm.
to anchor it within you,
Hmm.
within them. Do the touch, do the shoulder.
Hmm.
Whenever you're saying something powerful out of love that you're pouring in, and I'm making that distinction, you're pouring in something that you know is going to
Hmm.
benefit them on their journey, touch them and just hold them gently.
Hmm. The power of touch is amazing. Thank you for that, Coach Bev. Thank you for being here. As
God
always, we
bless.
are one last thing. Manaya says, and if you're in Maryland, Shepherd Pratt is very experienced in these situations. My adult son is doing much better. Thank you for that. And I know we are out of time. Dr. Vicky is going to close us out, and she is about to do a sermon at the church. So I want to turn it over to Dr. Vicky, who'll close us out in a prayer this morning. And thank you so much again, Coach Bev, for being here today.
Thank you, Kelly. Thank you, Coach Bev. Thank you, Dee. Thank you for this community. And Phaedra, we're holding you up in prayer today. God, we thank you for this is the day that you have made, and we choose to rejoice and give your name glory. Thank you for grace that is sufficient, for mercy that is new every morning, and for your peace that surpasses all understanding that guards our hearts and our minds. Thank you for the SonRise Project and this community. Thank you that you've ordered our steps and that there's nothing too hard for you. Thank you for the wisdom that is poured out. Now replenish Coach Bev for all that she has poured out today. We give you glory, we give you honor and praise, and we look forward to convening again on next Sunday where we can become better parents, better people to help our children as best we can, knowing ultimately they belong to you. So God, we surrender in all things and we love you. In your name we do pray. Amen. Have a powerful day, everyone.
Amen.
Amen. Thank you all. Have a beautiful day. Dr. Vicky, good luck. Have an incredible sermon. I know you're going to be fantastic. And
Thank
we'll be
you.
back next week 9 a.m. Eastern. Once again, we'll be right here. Coach Bev, you are a gem. Thank you for everything. Have a good
Blessings.
day.